Whyte Cleon. White is purity and it signifies integrity. Cleon simply means glory in Greek. And magenta, of course, is a color for harmony, pure love, honesty. And so for us, it just represents our values. Whyte Cleon started as a subsidiary of a bank. And at this time, the CBN regulation had advised banks to divest from non-banking business. We were able to, of course, consult with all the stakeholders, and it was agreed that we needed to divest. So that's what became Whyte Cleon today. In addition to that, while we were there, we were able to have a 5-year strategic plan that took us to 2015, which was when we had our break. And the break was simply that we had to have a relationship with one of the leading banks in the country and one of the biggest banks in sub-Saharan Africa. For us, that was a big break, and that opened a lot of doors for us. And of course, you could say that preparation, meeting, opportunity, that was exactly what it was, because Whyte Cleon was prepared to just take the sector by storm. Because we were very clear, we were intentional and deliberate about what we wanted to do. And that was to disrupt the sector positively. We wanted to do things differently, the way it should be done.
With that mindset, Whyte Cleon set out to make a major inroad into the sector, creating new trends in the outsourcing and recruitment space. Just like Rome, Whyte Cleon, from a humble beginning, deliberately laid a solid foundation brick by brick, building a formidable track record in the last decade. This determination and high level of integrity in the company's operations opened the door for formidable stakeholders to join the team.
I decided to come along as a director and subsequently the chairman of the board of Whyte Cleon. Firstly, because I know the promoters, they're people of integrity. And also, secondly, and more importantly, is the fact that the financial services industry at that time was yearning for what we call asset optimization. In other words, the big institutions were under cost pressures. And therefore, the whole idea of optimizing the use of the assets, outsourcing their non-core functions to make them efficient and competitive became a driving force. So I saw that as a growth opportunity. And if you have people of integrity and vision running into a growth opportunity, then definitely that was something that I wanted to be part of.
At the inception, I believed in the vision of the founders of the company. That was why I made myself available as a director. And I must say that what I've seen since I've joined has been overwhelming, in the sense that I saw a driven management that set goals and have achieved far beyond the goals and my expectation. I served, and I will continue to serve, because I believe in the vision of the founders of the company and the way they are going about achieving the goals they have set for themselves.
As a leading force in the recruitment space, Whyte Cleon continually uses proven techniques, benchmarking best practices, coupled with data analytics and office proficiency tools, which enable the company to expertly assess technical skills and managerial competence of candidates. This has birthed high levels of successes in the recruitment and selection solutions provided by Whyte Cleon. As a strong contender in the sector, Whyte Cleon's processes are streamlined with operations carried out following strict procedures. In other words, Whyte Cleon's internal and external operations are carried out strictly by the book.
There's a document called Standard Operating Procedure. Every good organization has one. And of course, we have ours in Whyte Cleon. There's what we do and there's a how to everything we do. So yes, we are big on people, but we are also big on how people do what they do in Whyte Cleon. Yes, you may want to say that following procedures brings about a bureaucracy, but we have been able to document how we do what we do in Whyte Cleon, and it has helped us. The MD is so particular about how we do what we do.
We do not cut corners, and so we ensure that we have all we need to run the business effectively and in compliance to government policies.
We continually, look to benchmark our performance, our processes, our strategy, and the implementation of those against what I would call companies that operate in the hotspots of the outsourcing business, India, USA, especially those two countries. And you find a lot of companies that are doing very well, what globally does in their fields. Those are companies we try to look up to, and even though we may not be exactly there, but there are quite a number of points where I would say we're at par with them. And in the areas where we have gaps, obviously, we continue to work on how to bridge those gaps and ensure that we're truly world-class.
And so we have our recruiter's license, which enables us to operate in this sector as a professional employment organization. And we have our DPR license. It empowers us to provide services for companies in the oil sector. Now we also have our ISO certification, ISO 9001:2015, which is the latest ISO certification that exists right now for quality management systems.
Even when we got our ISO certification, at some point they came back for the audit. Yes, they were actually surprised that a Nigerian company is so detailed with how we do what we do. And that is what Whyte Cleon stands for.
From the onset, the brains behind Whyte Cleon understood that there is no I in team. So, they have gradually built a team of fine minds that clearly understand the vision of the organization. And with dogged commitment, this team strive day by day to actualize the mission of the company.
The company has a clear shared vision that all of the management team have bought into. And I would say a big part of that credit goes to the CEO, Nireti, who's very passionate, who has very strong personality traits. And I believe she's been able to impart some of this onto the team as well. And all of them are all working together in a mutually supportive environment to ensure that they implement the strategies of the company in a way that assures long-term success. What you see is that there is a high dose of can-do attitude. There's a belief in what they're doing. And they're always seeking to continuously innovate and ensure that they stay ahead of the competition. I believe that the team we have is a very great team, and they continue to look for ways to improve on their performance.
The entire operation of Whyte Cleon centers around people, and as such, engages with people round the clock, from clients to staff and other stakeholders.
Whyte Cleon is a people-centric organization, and we have a face-to-face interaction with every member of our staff all over the country. It's amazing how we're able to do that. But the beauty of Whyte Cleon is that every member of staff here has bought into the vision of Whyte Cleon to be a people-centric company, a company that respects every individual, a company that is so centralized when it comes to managing people, when it comes to engaging people.
We integrate our newly employed staff to the system to make them feel comfortable in terms of onboarding and induction, salary and allowances, and also to ensure that they have a progressive career flow while with us.
So what we do is that we manage their payroll process. We ensure that all staff are paid as at when due, and we also manage their leave administration, their pension, and HMO. Staff are paid based on clients' agreements with different dates for different clients. So that way, we don't have anyone left behind.
And part of our staff welfare, we include the engagement part of it. And this has made us bring our staff closer
We have the ability to meet with them on daily basis. Sometimes we have our meetings on Zoom, which by using the social media platform. Our disciplinary infractions have reduced greatly because of the staff engagement that we've had. We've gone through the social media and we've also gone through the various platforms.
Powers is a science about how a worker can be more effective, more efficient in the organization, rather than the art of managing a person. So we look for those things, those variables that would enable the staff to do beyond the call of duty.
One of those variables in employee engagement that help to bring out the best in the workforce is the annual activation called Fantastic, a sporting event where staff are brought in from
various locations, from within Lagos, outside Lagos. They just come for a day's sport event. This sport event is majorly to bring everybody together. The Fantastic is basically an avenue for employee engagement within a Whyte Cleon family. But we have seen that over the years, there has also been an avenue for staff to pursue their dreams in sports. We had cases of staff that have been able to further their sporting life by traveling for different sporting events and getting football contracts in other countries, which has been another advantage for us as a company. Another avenue for employee engagement at the head office is what we call the Cleon space. The Cleon space is a space where all staff within the head office and people outside the head office have an opportunity of relaxing, even during work hours. If you want to take your work away from your office, you can work at the Cleon space. There's different sporting activities also at the Cleon space. You could play table tennis, you could relax, you could sit down, watch CNN for the day. And as long as you get a job done.
All over the world, it is accepted that where one works, one must have benefits. That is to say, you get to benefit from your work. When it comes to remunerations and other welfare packages, how is Whyte Cleon treating her nearly 7,000 staff? Is the organization fair, or is the organization a harsh taskmaster?
Employee welfare and management in Whyte Cleon is top-notch. Let me borrow that language from my MD. You know, people matter to us. What they do matters, and how they do their work also matters to us a lot. We know that these people are people who are running homes. They are people who are taking care of their parents. There are some of them still, working and going to school to better themselves and give themselves, a chance to be competitive. And so we ensure that their welfare is taken care of.
My experience as a guarantor is very, very, very cordial with Whyte Cleon. My sons have never complained about the organization. My son have never been delayed in payment of his salary. The salaries are prompt, and I'm happy over that.
Working with Whyte Cleon has been an amazing experience, right from when we started. And we have a group of people that when you have an issue, you can talk to them and they will get back to you immediately, as quick as possible. And also our salary comes really early. You have your salary right on time. So I remember the first time I started working here and I got my salary, I was like, Jesus. So people are paid this early.
For us in Whyte Cleon, our word is our brand. And it's beyond just about the business operations where we make money. It's about impacting life. Because we believe for every worker who has worked so hard, the best you can do is to let him earn his wages as an outgoing due and not deny them of the benefit entitled to them. In like mind, we try to encourage our staff to save for the rainy days. That's why the statutory pension remittances, we don't toy with it. We make sure we remit on their behalf on a monthly basis. And in like manner, we encourage them to invest in schemes available, like the Cleon Assets, which allows them to have assets of their own.
For now, it's basically electronics. You can buy and pay for a period of time. This scheme is just for you to buy and pay within 4 months. Flexible payment, cheaper rate, and easy pickup. So we looked at it as a company we are people company. What can we do further? What can we do more to assist our colleagues out there? We give them this opportunity to acquire this asset, get it, company will pay on your behalf, then you have a flexible payment period.
And so we ensure that we do everything to make their lives comfortable and to add value to them. For us, this is not just a business, it's a calling. We see lives as very important, and we see that they have been handed to us to cater for. And so we go the extra mile to ensure that we do our jobs and we do it well.
Over my period of service as a director, it's been excellent. And when you see workers you met when you started as a director who are still functioning and are doing very well, and are still as loyal as I am as a director, you know that there is something the company is giving to the staff that keeps them faithful. So I think in the area of staff management, they have been awesome.
It would be fair to state here that Whyte Cleon extends this kindness beyond her staff. The needy in the society have also benefited from the generosity of their organization in cash, gifts, and also in kind. The company also pioneered a health walk tagged Cleon Walk, which incorporates the board members, management, staff, and friends of the company, because a good physical and mental state equals productivity. With nearly 7,000 workers and operations in the 36 states of the Federation, including the FCT, the Federal Capital Territory, how has the company been able to interact with and maintain her huge staff base and at the same time render quality services?
Whyte Cleon is a company that thinks at least 5 years ahead of its present position. And with the advent of technology, we basically leverage hugely on innovation. Whyte Cleon is an innovative company.
We have different platforms on social media that you can reach to our executives when you have a problem, and they answer immediately. You get your reply, you get feedbacks, you get solutions to problems. It's a one-on-one kind of family. You know, we have a WhatsApp group, we have a Yama, we have social, we have Instagram, we have everything really.
Recently, Whyte Cleon developed a mobile app to tie all her processes together. We connected the staff to the guarantors. We gave direct access to clients to see who was in the system. And then we moved our entire recruitment system to the mobile app. We also have a Cleon time that solved our claims problems with some of our clients. Staff can log on to the system, make claims, and their supervisor sees real time, and they send it in for processing, and we pay them. This singular move increased productivity by 30%. We also have our e-learning portal, which we use for assessment, we use to deploy training, and we can gauge engagement and participation of staff. With all these systems, we know that security will be a problem, and we engaged an ISO certified vendor to do a vulnerability test on all our systems, and we've been certified. Beyond this, Whyte Cleon is now building an information center that will tie everything together. We are giving staff the keys to their own journey in Whyte Cleon, where they started from, how they are going, and clients can also log in and see progress of each staff and the entire embodiment.
It is worthy of note that even after disengaging from the services of the company, Whyte Cleon still seeks to impart and impact the lives of her former staff through entrepreneurial trainings and other programs.
The entrepreneurial trainings is to develop ex-staff, to give them a sense of belonging, to improve their lives, not making them feel left out. So we've made these trainings for them to make it easier to learn some kind of trade, you know, to develop the new skills.
After I left First Bank under Whyte Cleon organized an entrepreneurship training for all staff. So with that training, my eyes were opened to agribusiness really, because all I have in mind to do is services, which I'm still doing in addition to the agribusiness. I can never forget Whyte Cleon for what I have achieved so far, for the kind of entrepreneurship spirit that has been imputed in me through that training.
The training was superb. I learned a lot from it, and which is really helping me now. And so far, so good. The program they've been placing down for us to benefit from, not that they owe us, but to see us doing better after leaving Whyte Cleon. It's been a wonderful experience with them and even outside the world.
In the past decade of Whyte Cleon's operations, the level of compliance with government policies has been unquestionable. The acquisition of relevant certificates and other remittances by the company has proven the worth and integrity of the organization.
Working with Whyte Cleon in the last 10 years has been a very, very good experience. Professionalism is at its best here, and they don't cut corners. And when you don't do that, it makes our job easier. The compliance level of Whyte Cleon has been very, very good. All remittances are done on due date, and whatever tax matters that arise as a result of their operations, they are always eager to comply. Even with the Federal Inland Revenue Service, we ensure that the necessary papers are provided. They are always cooperative.
The year 2020 reset the world.
COVID-19 can be characterized as a pandemic.
The abnormal became the new normal. Every facet of human existence had been affected and distorted. Businesses have been forced to reevaluate their processes and procedures and reposition themselves. It's now a case of you either have a robust plan to survive in this new normal and the uncertain future in its wake, or go extinct.
COVID hit. Coincidentally, we have our EDMS system, electronic document management system, which we started 2 years ago, and it was apt. We went home and we continued to work.
The interesting thing about this is that over the years, this platform has evolved from the old kind of practices to being technologically driven. So the management of the company has been wonderful in terms of adjusting to modern trends.
Yeah, today the company is obviously a company with a very strong brand equity, but certainly not the biggest in the industry. But I believe with the size that we have today and the global practices that we adopt, and also an innovative approach to business and client satisfaction feedback that we get, we will be able to leverage off that and grow to become a leader in the industry. So obviously, I see Whyte Cleon in a leadership position, not just in terms of brand equity and perception in terms of quality of service and processes, but also in absolute size.
From what we've done so far, we continue to create very innovative technological platforms that will enable our business to be more efficient. We will not relent in our efforts to be the most preferred HR company. We will continually integrate a lot of our processes, implement our processes in a way that organizations will be more susceptible to giving us businesses, and of course partner with us at different levels. And we're hoping that with the African Continental Free Trade Agreement, that should be able to open us up for cross-border transactions. And as a result of that, we have an office in Ghana and we have a footprint in Kenya. And so eventually we hope to at least be in a few of the African countries, and that's our strategy to move us forward to the next decade.
As chairman of the board of Whyte Cleon, I want to tell all stakeholders that the last 10 years has been successful. The next 10 years will be challenging and even more successful. We would have accomplished the goal of entrenching a brand, projecting that brand, and making that brand a household name.
10 years down the line, the journey continues to a new phase, and the simple message to those yet to join the train is:
for all those companies that are looking how to optimize their assets, control their costs, position themselves for success in the new dispensation.
We cannot wait to work with them because, again, Whyte Cleon is about impacting businesses positively and impacting every individual. that we come across in the course of our business. And so we are excited at conquering new frontiers. We are ready. Our processes are ready. And the integrity of our process cannot be questioned.
As Whyte Cleon celebrates a major milestone of 10 years, the company is further poised for greater exploits in the industry. And to all stakeholders who have made the last 10 years memorable, fulfilling, and rewarding, Whyte Cleon says, thank you. No. This is just the beginning.